Our experienced faculty will guide you with their unique approach towards understanding this complex philosophical text. This is your chance to discover and experience the power of the Bhagavad Gita. Join us at Rishihood University starting 1st July 2023. www.vedantawisdom.in to know more. Are you looking to explore the depths of the ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita? Join us this July at Rishihood University for our 1-month residential certificate course titled Awakening Wisdom: Insights on Life from the Bhagavad Gita. Our course will guide you through the text of the Gita, exploring its philosophy and practical applications for everyday life. Learn from Dr. Janki Santok, senior disciple of Swami Parthasarathi, with over 3 decades of experience in the field, and deepen your understanding of the truths of life. Don't miss this opportunity to experience the magic of this timeless wisdom for yourself. Visit www.vedantawisdom.in to know more.
Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We were doing the qualities of the Gnani, the qualities of the intellectual, of the person on the path of Gnana Yoga, of the wise, whatever you want to call it. Gnani literally means of the intellectual. And it's an amazing thing that nobody thinks that if you come out of college, you should have these qualities. In fact, we've sort of forgotten what education is meant for at all. So what is it that you're supposed to be able to do if you are coming out of college? We no longer, seem to even distinguish between vocational education and higher education. It's come to mean the same thing. It's like if you take higher education, can you get a job? That's your question. When you are the type who does vocational education, your question is, can you get a job? Because that's what you did it for. Higher education is supposed to do a different thing. Its job is different in life. In this country, we roll out graduates as if, it's like a sort of basically cello, everybody go about doing your graduation. And it's so stupid that everybody is recognizing it's stupid. But as all usual, attributing the cause to the wrong causes. So here is what the Gita says, that as an educated person, as an intellectual, as a Gnani, this is what you will have. What will you have? You will have the right values in life. It is the first and most important. Why is it the most important thing? Because if you don't know what to focus on in this world, how on earth are you going to ever get anything of value? You focus on all the wrong things, you get all the wrong things. Because it's a law of life. You will get what you want. Whatever you are striving for is what you're going to get. If you don't know what to strive for, then don't blame the world if a jack in the box comes to you. You worked for it, you got it. And then it leaps out at you, a dragon leaps out at you, then you say, oh, this world is so bad. You got it because you asked for it. No, I didn't ask for it. No, you did ask for it. That's why you got it. There was no other way to get anything. So understanding where to place my values, and therefore where to place my attention. Harmlessness, himsa. I'm not talking, a simple example would be, I'm not talking about not harming people's bodies. I'm talking about not wishing harm to somebody, meaning wishing the welfare of the world. I'm able to understand that people are what they are. And I'm completely okay with that. I have no resistance to the kind of person someone is. Someone is a good student. Someone is a negligent student. Is the teacher supposed to love the good student and not love the negligent student? No, right? It's supposed to be same. Some of my sons may be very hardworking and good. Some of my sons may be very terrible. Am I supposed to love some and not the others? Is my love something that people have to purchase from me? Or is it something that I give free? These are questions I have to ask myself. And if it be so that people have to purchase my love, then it must follow that I must purchase other people's love, mustn't it? How can it be you must purchase my love, but I must not purchase yours? Right? So at least we must know what we're doing. I expect all unconditional love from everybody, but others will only get conditional love from me. I think it's not okay, right? So you have to decide how you want to deal with this world. You want it transactional, then transactional both ways. If you want it unconditional, then be unconditional. Because that's how you want to live your life. So when you think of it like that, then you can't say that this person is like this and this person is like that, and therefore I don't like him. I cannot take the stance that he's fanatical, that's why I don't like him. He is jealous, that's why I don't like him. He has harmed me, therefore I don't like him. No, I like him anyway. How is that even possible? Because I understand that each being functions by his nature. And that nature is just part of this grand scheme of things. I don't know if you know about that Assyrian tablet they found some time ago. I don't, nowadays you don't even know how much of it is true and false because you don't know. But it's a very interesting thing, and it has been repeatedly said in many places also. I mean, similar ideas. That, there's an Assyrian tablet that was found. It was said, apparently, and not verifying the historicity of this, but this is what is reported, that it was saying that today's generation is such a mess. People have such low values. They have got, everybody wants to write a book, but nobody wants to learn anything. All this stuff was written. It's such a terrible state of affairs. This world is coming to a collapse. This is what that tablet said. That tablet is from 2300 BC. At least for the last 4,000 or 5,000 years, human beings have been expecting doomsday because everybody is so horrible and everybody is so bad. And somehow we have managed at least 5,000 years after that particular tablet. So it's all part of this world. Can it be possible that this world exists without good and bad? Remember, the definition of the world is, what is the definition of the world?
Pairs of opposites.
Pairs of opposites.
Bandhas.
Very good. Pairs of opposites. Do we say, I love the day, but I hate the night? No. What are you going to love and what are you going to hate? You hate it or you love it. The earth is going to go round. And when it goes round, you will need day, you will need night, you will need winter, you need summer. I mean, what is the meaning of I like it and I don't like it? What is the meaning of this thing? Makes no sense, right? You are a helpless being on top of a helpless little ball, which is helplessly has to go around the sun. Now you say, I don't like it when it reaches the Nadi, or I don't like it when it reaches Nadi, or when it reaches the zenith. I don't like it. What do you mean you don't like it? What are you going to do about it? It makes no sense. And so our capacity to just see things for what they are and have no internal resistance, that is called forgiveness. Even Christ said, judge not others, resist not evil. Why are you resisting? What is the point of you resisting?
Judge not others, resist.
Not evil. Judge not others, resist not evil. But does that mean I be evil? No. I be upright. Arjavam. What a quality. To live your truth. Just live your truth. When you follow what your gross intellect tells you, that's your conviction. When you follow what your subtle intellect tells you, that's your conscience. If you live by your conviction and your conscience, you have arjavam, uprightness, authenticity. You're a genuine human being. Just live your truth. Don't say what he says that. Let him say what he has to say. Live your truth. Be yourself. Think about it. Decide what you want to do and do it. Yeah, Momita.
But Christ also whipped the Pharisees at the temple or something. Like he said, y'all are commercializing my father's. I don't remember the story exactly. He did do that. So that was a resistance to evil.
No, it's talking about internal resistance. Not what you physically do. Remember, ahimsa is being preached on the
Battlefield.
So it's not an external action, it's an internal resistance. You have to fight your enemy. You don't have to hate your enemy. Because for the very simple reason, when you hate your enemy, you are agitated, your intellect cannot think, you will mess up, you will lose. Why you hate him?
But he used rather harsh words, I believe, to them. Like he was angry, like there was an emotional.
That's fine. What's wrong with that? There's no internal resistance. You shout, scream. Doesn't your mother fire you? But there is no internal dislike. Your mother will fire you, your teacher will fire you, your father will fire you, but there's no internal dislike. So there's no internal resistance. The problem with this world is not that we stand up to each other. See, if I'm doing something wrong, it is your obligation to stand up against me. This is your obligation. But it should not affect the affection.
May I ask a question about this point? When you resist, you don't resist evil, but you stand up for it. Should you express how it makes you feel, or how do you stand up for it without letting your emotions overwhelm the situation?
Your emotions don't overwhelm you. They can overwhelm the situation. That's fine. Suppose, I'll tell you one a very silly story that happened in my life. It is typical of when you are still struggling on the path. One day I woke up at 4 o'clock. I opened my eyes like this because there was some noise. The noise woke me up. It was slightly before 4, like 4. And I looked out where the noise was, outside my window. And there was a man standing there. It's the backyard of the house, so how is it possible that the man is standing over there? It's just not possible. And what I could see from the wind, from where I was lying, is I opened my eyes like that, turned my face, and he's handing over things. So obviously there was a gang of robbers, and they were taking away the things from the backyard. So what am I supposed to do right now? So very quietly I got up from my bed and I picked up the telephone and I called the police. I called 100. 100 is 999, so I called 100. And I told that lady that there seems to be a robber in the house. So can you please send the police van? I'm in need of help. So that lady started with, Hanji, this was in Delhi. Where are you? What is your address? Kab se robbers hai wahan pe? Since when are the robbers there? Are they still there or have they left? Yeah, I mean, the most ridiculous questions. Then like, hello, a lady has phoned you up, told you that there's robbers in the house. I started, okay, there are robbers in the house. The address is so and so. I started like this because if he has to send somebody, he doesn't know where to send. So she said, are the robbers there still? Have they left? Do you know what they have taken so far? So having a conversation with him. So I'm like, what's wrong with this lady? Like, send the Jeep. The Jeep came, by the way, 2-3 hours later, by that time those guys would have killed me. And then I said, I'm like, send the car now, then I got into what these people call my Durga room. But I realized at that stage, the fault wasn't hers, the fault was mine. Because I had said, there are robbers in the house, this is the address, please send the police vehicle. She's not used to hearing this. She's used to hearing, you know what happened? There are people over here and do something. Used to hearing that. There was no panic in my voice. And because there's no panic in my voice, I'm assuming her first thought was, this is a hoax call.
Yes.
Right? So your emotions are required sometimes to overwhelm the situation. Sometimes people will not listen to you if I say very sweetly and nicely, everybody, please get up in the morning and study. Everybody will be fast asleep. I say, what do you mean you want to study Vedanta? You don't want to get up at 4 o'clock? I'm sorry, wake up, So your emotions, it's okay to overwhelm the situation with your emotions, because that's how you get many people to register your emotion. But not yourself.
Can I give you an example of why I asked this question? It's at work where I work now in Cyprus. They are moving the office to Jordan, and they are trying to find, to let go of the staff who is in Cyprus by doing without, let's say, if they close down the office and everybody needs to get compensation. So they are trying to find ways not to do that. So in my situation, they said that when the office would close, anyone who has my role, which is an education coordinator, will be terminated for no reason. I mean, just because I have this role, not because of my competency or my performance or anything. So for me, it's unfair. And it is upsetting me, especially that I am close to retirement age, and it's not easy to find another job. So, and my emotions are, I'm very upset. I feel it's unfair. I feel there is discrimination. Why the coordinator has to be terminated and not another person. And I feel that it's just to basically get rid of me. So how do I resist evil in this sense? And I'm not sure how to handle the situation, because when you said do not resist evil, then what do I do? And yet I have to fight for my rights.
Yes. It's very difficult to answer that unless you have all the data, but I'll just give a few indications. Firstly, try and understand what is their reason for moving to Jordan, and what is the ground realities as far as they are concerned. Forget about yourself for a moment. What are the ground realities of them? Once you've figured that much out, you can ask yourself, where in these ground realities, to their benefit, can I fit in? For instance, suppose they're going to Jordan. Now in Jordan, why are they going to Jordan? Do they have enough staff in Jordan? They will have to set up there. So can you say, I will come with you to Jordan and do this, because you see, you have given me a data. I'm only using the data you're given. Okay. You said,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to find it difficult to find something else. So I'm not currently in a strong position.
No.
So therefore, I have to, as much as possible, coordinate with this situation. So can I go to Jordan? If you go to Jordan, we'll also come. We'll go and see Petra and all. Petra is so beautiful.
I know, I've been there, but there is already an office, and we are not allowed to move there. They are recruiting people from there.
Okay.
So
think
it's
about
not
how
an option.
you can fit in. Think about what is their scheme of things, and is there what is their perception of this? See, the internal resistances, they are bad, they are evil, they're doing something wrong. But suppose we say, okay, each one is functioning by their desires and their interests. They're looking at their interests. So what is their interest? And can I fit into this in some way? First, that should be my question. Suppose for whatever reason, I'm not able to, I have to be able to leave from here in as good a, if I'm not able to fit in, I must be able to leave from here in as strong a position as I can. For instance, can I get a golden handshake? What are my
Sorry,
golden
can I get?
What are my termination benefits? So no, I'm not even going to get any of that. Then, okay, can I get a letter of recommendation? There is no point fighting a battle when you are in a weak position. Never fight a battle when you're in a weak position. You have to see how you can fit into their interest in whatever way. Okay,
Yes.
can they recommend you to anyone else? I mean, there must be some human beings there that you can speak to, right? After all, they were your team. So instead of that, the thing is you have to get over that internal resistance about their being evil and bad, and understand this as a clash of interests. You have some interest, they have some interest, and there's a clash of interests. So put your interests aside and think of their interests. And if you can see that jigsaw, you will understand how you can fit or get out in the best possible manner.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. It helps a lot to look at it this way. Thank you.
Perhaps he can hire you as a consultant or just to train, like to start with, just for a little while or something. I mean, you could put it to them sometimes in short term. When they want to get rid of a permanent employee, I find it usually because you have so many benefits coming up. They never say it, that it's, they never actually say it. But if you would say, okay, I'll leave, but you can hire me in a temporary position or something. Often I've found that this somehow works for them. The same salary that they would give a new person, if I'm getting $100,000, if they were only to give you 50,000, we were to take a cut. Some, as Janki ji is saying, just think of ways. And I've gone through a similar situation, and it is basically, as they say, they want really the old employees out or whatever. They want new blood. They don't want to pay so much money. If they can get somebody to at half the price, why would they be having you? So this move is something else, but they might really take you on as I think they did say to me, if you're willing to move to Bombay, we would hire you there at one point of time.
Thank you. Yes, that's very good point. But they are giving this option to others, but not to the one who has the role of the coordinator. This is what's confusing me and what's making me feel even more discriminated. Because some others are given this option of becoming consultants in their field, but not in my case.
So you can always go ask for something that nobody has offered you.
Yes. Okay, we will see. Thank you very much.
And that's a good point for everybody in the class also to realize that very often we don't get what we want because we simply don't ask for it. The first and most easiest way to get what you want is ask. Ask and it shall be opened unto you. My father used to say that, he used to say, well, if you want it, you go ask for it. Anyway, you don't have it at the moment. So the situation is not going to get any worse. Because, as a child, you're too reticent to say something or open your mouth somewhere. And you'd always say, I've got nothing to lose. But what are you going to lose out? So it's a good thing for all of us to always know that we can always ask for it. The whole world is, actually, most people are happy to give us whatever we ask for. If at all it is within their capacity to give it to you. So, ask.
100%, I agree.
Thank you.
Because remember, people feel good to do good. Don't forget that. It always feels good to do good. Suppose we go to Mukesh and we say, please give me X or Y or Z. If he can't give it to you, what will he feel?
Yeah,
He'll feel
Guilt.
bad. But if he can give it to you, he will feel
good.
so he will try to give it. Because altruism is very natural for humans. I'm sorry if Mukesh gets all sorts of requests from everybody now. So sorry to have the whole class, please don't go and keep on asking him for something. Say, oh God, what happened over here? So, we have to use our discretion, of course. We don't go around asking the whole world for everything. And like in all things, let's learn to pick our battles. Choose your battles. Similarly, choose what you're willing to ask for. You are every moment now. So then now suppose now Deepraj or Naeem have learned that we just have to ask for it. Very simple. Then everywhere, every day you go and ask for something. Won't work like that. But in important things. Okay, so uprightness means following your conscience and your conviction. Following what you think is right. Doing it. Service to the preceptor, service to the teacher, a very important part of education. Oops. What are you saying, Bharat? I didn't understand. Did you call after morning study? It must
No,
be
the
context
cops.
for something, huh?
Cops. You called the cops after morning study, so you must be very calm.
Okay, all right. No, I not even started. I was just opened my eyes and that chap was standing there. And first I was like, why is a man standing here? It took me a second to understand. You know how you get up and why is he standing here? Is it a man? Is it something else?
Am I still dreaming?
Am I still dreaming? What on earth is going on here? No, so I didn't even study that. Wasn't even awake. In fact, I hadn't got my glasses on, so I wasn't sure that there was a man. So my first step was to put on my glasses and ensure that there is a man before you start making a big fuss about something. Sangeeta, if you don't ask, you don't get. Ashya, what would be the parameters to see which battles to pick? The ones you find important. In your life, you know what is the big stuff and what is the small stuff. If it's the big stuff, you have to do it. What are your options? It's your call, right? Is it big or is it small? Suppose the maid forgets to clear up your waste bin one day. From your bedroom, she didn't carry the waste bin and put it in the dustbin, in the main dustbin, and of course it goes out of the house. So she forgot one day. Is that reason enough to fire her? But if you catch her stealing, then it's different, right? So it's what you call small stuff and what is big stuff. As a general principle, in all things, the one yardstick you use is your own goal in life. But it may not be applicable to situations such as this maid. I mean, of course, we can make it applicable, but it'll be a stretch. But largely, it is your goal. Otherwise, your own understanding what is the big stuff and what is the small stuff. Okay, Asha?
And maybe putting yourself in the other person's shoes. How would you, thinking of what would be their answer if somebody had asked you, what would you have answered? And if you think that maybe that also is the starting point.
What are you referring to, Malti?
In any situation, before you ask somebody, let's say like I've lost my job and I want to ask them for something. I think if I was the boss, as you said, after you have looked at their interest in everything and thought, how would how would one expect me to react? If I would have not listened to the person, then you obviously know that I'm barking up the wrong tree, because in the same situation, I would have done exactly what the other person has done. Or as a general rule, that is acceptable.
Okay, so Asha's question would be, what would the parameters to see which battles to pick? So, okay, you can say that, I guess. Then what happens? Are you okay, Asha?
Yes, Janki-ji, thank you.
Sureka, also need to be patient and offer your services without any vested interest. They will certainly come back. Yeah, that depends. That is largely true, but it works only when you're working with people who appreciate that kind of thing. Deep Raj to everyone. But if you expect them to come back, you already have a vested interest. Okay. Sureka, not if it's your long-term goal. Okay. Right. Service to the preceptor. Service to the teacher. No teacher worth his salt expects anything from the student. In fact, in India, there's a hierarchy of students and there's a hierarchy of teachers. And very, very many types of teachers. There's adhyapak. I mean, in Sanskrit, there's the gradations of teachers as well. Shikshak, adhyapak. These are all different words for teachers, and different words indicate different types of teachers. There are some people who are teachers as a profession in life. Like they go to school, they teach, they come back. There are all sorts of different things. And then what are they a teacher of? Like acharya. The word acharya is used largely. I mean, this is not because it's such an old culture. Sometimes you find different usages also, but acharya largely means a person who teaches you the prasthanatrayi. The prasthanatrayi, remember everybody, is what? How can you know prasthanatrayi?
Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita.
Very good. Thank God. The three foundational textbooks of Vedanta. You have to know this term. The foundational textbooks of Vedanta. The three foundational textbooks of Vedanta, the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, and the Bhagavad Gita. So somebody who teaches you this subject is called an acharya. I mean, the person who knows the subject, he is expected to know the subject. So then he is called an acharya. Now, guru is very different from this. The word guru means, it literally means a dispeller of darkness. So the kind of loyalty you owe the different degrees of teaching is also dependent on what is that type of teaching. Suppose you went to a college and maybe that person taught you the Prasthanatrayi. Then he would be an acharya because he's communicating the knowledge, the information. The guru is expected to do more than that. Now, whatever is the teacher, as a student, we owe something back. The highest grade of teacher does not require anything. So now when the poor fellow doesn't require anything from us, what are we supposed to do for them? It's impossible, right? Suppose, can you imagine that if a teacher had 100 students, okay, and all 100 want to do something for him, then that poor man will go mad. What is he going to do with them? All of them are giving lunch, all of them are giving dinner, all of them are doing, what will he do? He'll go crazy. So you can't do that. So service of the preceptor means what?
Service to the cause.
Service to the cause that the preceptor stands for, because that is something you can do. Purity. Purity is at all levels of the personality, material. At the material level, purity means, we're going to ask each one, 9. At the material level, purity means?
Physical purity?
What?
Physical purity?
What? Material level, what is it?
Just your environment, your body, your environment.
So I can see you have a very clean room. So stage 1 passed. Material level, purity done. Then, Joyce, what is physical purity? Momita.
Does it mean cleanliness?
That's material. Your world, your environment.
Yes. I don't know.
What is physical purity?
Physical health, looking after yourself.
Take care of your body. Yeah. You don't eat junk.
No.
Unselfish action.
Unselfish action. Purity at the physical level means unselfish action. Purity at the mental level is what? Mr. Chandwani. Purity at the mental level is?
Following the path, intellect, and trying to get to the self.
Service.
Reducing desires.
Pure emotions.
Pure emotions. Dirt at the mental level is agitations. To be agitated means to be impure. This is very much part of our culture. Joyce, you may not know this, but there is something in this country, and I don't know if you know it too. They're called Ashuddh. You know what is Ashuddh period? Ashuddh is not clean, basically.
Not clean. Yeah. Shuddh is purity and Ashuddh is not.
Yes. So you know which are the Ashuddh periods?
In terms of time? Periods.
Sorry?
In terms of times of the day or periods?
Yeah, anything, any Ashuddh period. You know any Ashuddh
period of mourning. Period of mourning.
Very good. Period of mourning. When women are in their monthly cycles. These are all called Ashuddh periods. I think even a child just born, that's also a Ashuddh period. Then there is a period of the year where the Christian tradition doesn't have this, right? Does it have any period of mourning in the year?
They have the month of Lent.
Yeah, but no mourning for ancestors, right?
Some cultures do.
Yeah, I know.
In South America. And
yes, yeah. Islam have a period of mourning for the ancestors?
It depends on which sect you're jumping.
Oh, yeah.
Shias, they mourn the death of Ali and Hassan.
Yeah, not that kind of mourning. Mourning as in mourning for your ancestors.
Ancestors.
They have a day, I think a particular day when they
And
observe
at the
this.
month of and the 11th of the month is when they say Gyarvi. And on those days they cook food, and then they say they offer that to the souls of the dead who have ancestors who have passed away.
Yes.
So
One
that,
Christians as well. Christians as well. They have.
Christians have that a day.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, though in the Vedic culture or Quranic culture and in the Zoroastrian culture, they have a period of the year for it, like a 15-day period for it. Of course, because of all the sects, like Naeem says, there's all sorts of different things, but largely speaking, 15 days, 21 days kind of story, where it is a period which is called Shraddha in for the Hindus and Muktad for the Parsis, where they have this mourning means not like everybody sits and cries or anything, but they don't take up any auspicious act, they don't start anything new and all on those days. So all these are considered to be Ashuddh periods. Ashuddh means not pure. Why not pure? Because mind is agitated.
Jankeji, this eclipse time also considered as impure.
So all these periods, the mind is agitated. So it's called Ashuddh. So I'm only giving these examples to show that mental purity means absence of agitations. The more the agitations, the more the impurity. So where is this impurity coming from? It comes from, negative emotions and all that sort of thing, self-interest, negative emotions. So it creates a period of impurity. And then what else? Then intellectual level. Jay, what is purity at the intellectual level?
You're free from Arshad Vargas.
That is mental purity. What is intellectual purity?
Having a goal?
Clarity in thinking. Clarity in thinking, full clarity.
So what is dirt at the intellectual level is indecision, confusion, lack of clarity. What is purity at the intellectual level? Clarity. So mental level clarity is, let's go through this one more time. God, we did it last time. At the material level, purity is?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness. At the physical level?
Unselfish action.
Unselfish action. At the emotional level?
Pure emotions.
Pure emotions, because that impure emotions are dirt. Pure emotions. Then intellectual level?
Clarity of thought.
Is your purity. And confusion, indecision, all that is the dirt. And at the spiritual level?
Absence of desire.
No
Absence of vasanas. Absence of vasanas is your purity, and obviously vasanas is your dirt. You can, for your notes purpose, you can make two columns. What is the dirt and what is the purity? So purity, when he says, is a big concept, right? They think purity, they think, oh, I did not eat your jhuta, so I'm a very pure person. So not like that. Jhuta, how do you, there's no word in English, Joyce, for jhuta. Jhuta means
Leftover
consumed by
food.
somebody already.
Yeah.
Touched or consumed by somebody already. You don't see, Indian usually will not share like a cup, like I have a sip and from the same cup I give it to you. That would be considered insulting. Yeah, Mukesh.
Hello, good morning, Janki-ji. Just a quick one on first of all, on material purity. You just mentioned the example, not sharing food or from the same cup. But for example, Sabri shared her berries with Ram. So how does that fit into this concept of, is it just with love, pure love?
Yes. The concept is Okay, so in India, what they did was they highlighted cleanliness so much. We were the most unclean lot of people on the surface of this planet, I think. So all our scriptures highlighted purity a lot. You know, our temples, I mean, only very, very highly developed people could feel devotional, I think, in those temples. It's so dirty. How can you go there? You go to these mosques also, so beautiful, the massive carving and beautiful things. You go to the grand churches and so, wow, how beautiful. Our temples, these temples, they are also very beautiful, but dirt on the floor is impossible. You can't look up because you are trying to avoid going through all that dirt. So it was a very highlighted aspect because it creates so much dirt, and also because there are so many people. You know, I often used to say, we're so dirty as Indians, and also, how do we create all this dirt? And look at all the other countries, everywhere we went, Jordan we went, anywhere we went, it's all so lovely. Then one day we went to, what was that, LA railway, the railway station at Los Angeles. And it was, I had to go to the washroom. It was literally one of the worst washrooms. This is worse than India. What on earth is this? What on earth it is that when the facilities have so much pressure, all the homeless people are also going to use them, right? At those facilities, a few facilities, and there's so many people, you can't maintain the cleanliness. It's just like, how do you do that? So, there are so many people that is also there as an excuse. So I don't want to say bad things about our dear India, but it is a point that there are too many people anyway. But so coming back, in India, purity, cleanliness is terribly highlighted, right? If you go into a Brahminical family, they have 1 million rules. If you have, one girl, she got married into a Brahmin family. She's not a Brahmin, she got married into a Brahmin family, and Orthodox parents-in-law. So she picked up her plate and took it for washing. And she washed it and she brought back. And then afterwards, she looked at her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law was washing all the taps because she used the wrong hand in the washing process. So we are just happy if people wash their things and put them away. But it was too much for the Brahmin mother-in-law because she had touched things. Just touching them is like, oh, what did you do? We touched it. Not because she was of another caste, just touching it at all. Nobody's allowed to touch it with your right hand. Nobody's allowed to touch that thing. Okay, you may be a Brahmin also, but you're not allowed to touch it. So there's such stringent rules of what is acceptable behavior, right? That they were obsessed with it. Now you want to show that it is not this that makes for spiritual development. So you show Shabri making a jhuta, which is considered the worst thing, and giving it to the highest personage, which is God. You see, all that drama, only to tell you, please, it's your intention that counts, not the action. So that is why this subject becomes difficult to study. I don't know, in some class we already did that. How you have to learn that in stages. So first you learn to be clean. When you start learning to be clean, you start becoming obsessed with cleanliness. Then you learn that cleanliness is not the be-all and end-all of the story. There's lots happening beyond it. Okay?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it resonates with my family, not so much now, but definitely my grandmother, she wouldn't allow us to come in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Doing seva and all that, but children didn't understand this, and then it's conflict.
Yeah.
On the second subject of mental, on pure emotions, so example earlier on, you said as long as you're so if you don't get, I suppose, I don't know if it's a selfish way of saying it, but say you for example, take Joyce's example, they're not listening to her, or she's put all the arguments forward, facts, and can one then show anger? But I don't know, do you have to be diplomatic about this all the time? Sometimes you just have to, your emotions are so strong that you just react. Is that, I'm not saying is it okay, but I just want some understanding on that. Because you've done whatever, best, you've done all the ways of being nice, diplomatic, and so forth, but then you are annoyed inside. I mean, I don't know if is that the emotion?
These are all normal human things. All of us go through it. You do all you can, and then people are still obdurate. So what are you going to do with them? So you feel like taking one stick and knocking them over the head. Now, your intellect has to decide that should I do it this time or not do it? See, if it's family or friends and people who understand you, go right ahead, express. If you tell your wife, I think you're a complete idiot, then she will get very angry with you and you will fight. After 2 days, you all will be friends again. That's okay. Then, but if you tell your boss that, or now if as Joyce leaves an organization, you tell that you actually can damage your future. So you can't afford to do it with some people. Yeah. With some people you can. If you get irritated with your mother and you go shout at her, she's okay. She will shout at you, you will shout at her, and you'll have a fight, and 2 days you all will not talk to each other, and then things will just come back to normal. So you have to know where to. If you don't express anywhere, you become a frustrated person.
Yes.
Because, they are emotions which we do have. What are we going to do with them? So you have to express them. But there are some places where you should not do that, because you create more trouble for yourself in the future. So those places, gulp it, go home and tell your wife, that person is so horrible, they didn't do that. You're giving yourself some expression, but you can't tell that person, because some people, they will hold a grudge against you and mess up your future. There are people like that, and you have to be very careful that you don't rub them the wrong way.
It's just very fearful, isn't it? I mean, it's just, that's what sometimes I think about, and it's really, I know that wrong is a wrong thing they're doing, and you're fearful because of I agree with you what you're saying. They might hold a grudge and ruin your future, but it's just so frustrating at times. You can go and kick the ball afterwards or the wall, but at that moment in time, it's so frustrating because what you're saying is right, but they're not just prepared to listen. I suppose people are people, like you said. You just have to accept them.
Yeah, or we have to find a different way to say it. Sometimes we find a different way to say it. Sometimes, no matter whatever you decide to say, it's not going to work. Like some people are interested in Vedanta. Some people are not interested. Now you can go to these people who are not interested and give them the world's best logic. They're not going to be interested. That is why even in marketing, the first question they ask you is, where's Omkar? First question in marketing is,
who's your target audience?
Yes, target. Who's your audience? You have to consider. So when you know this person is not going to hear, now what is the use of saying anything to this person? Or you do see some use. Like suppose, for instance, you feel that I want to take action. Then you think carefully, what action can you take? Okay, and usually if you want to take action, then hopefully you're doing it for a group also, because people, whatever we are suffering from, others are suffering from the same thing. So collect all of them and take group action. Because what you're saying is what we all go through, right? So much frustration on so many things that we feel helpless to do something about. So you have to decide, is this one of the things I'm going to do something about or not to? But you can't do it impulsively, because then all hell can break loose. And it's perfectly okay to go shout at people. There's no problem with that. But it should be some basic discrimination has to take place.
Thank you.
Or you can also have they have AIs, for this. You can go shout at the AI, and then the AI will respond.
Okay. What happened? We are trying to dispose of every human being from our life. No, use human beings first, then go to AI.
Breaking
Janki ji,
confusion.
Janki ji,
Yes, Milan.
a person having purity at every level, what will happen to him?
Say that again.
A person having purity at every level, what will happen to him?
He'll be a realized soul. Obviously, no vasana is realized.
No, that is a extreme. Otherwise, that is saying no. हाथ लगाओ सोना. जिधर हाथ डालो सोना. You succeed in every field,
You
like
said
anything.
every million, if every level, so you went to extreme only. If
Yeah,
you say
that is
every, then it will be extreme. Every single thing he has to be Mari. He's above Maryada Purushottam. He's Sarva Guna Sampanna Shri Krishna.
yeah, that is yeah.
Okay. Now what all is here? Mamita. Even in villages, they're always cleaning stuff, but somehow it is all shabby. But actually, their vessels and all, somehow they manage to keep in switch out. I don't know how they get those vessels to shine so much. No, Deep Raj. Even people who follow Vamachara, tantric practices, who stay in cremation grounds, show there are varying degrees of subtlety and purity. Now, where have you gone to these cremation grounds, Deep Raj? You come back over here only. Worry about them. Varsha, you have to be strong to bear the consequences of your actions, else find another way. We can't be authentic all the time in the world. Varsha, that's not really true. I mean, the earlier part is true, but you can't say we can't be authentic all the time in the world. We have to be authentic all the time in the world. But when you decide, I don't want to say anything, that is part of being authentic. So we are going to be authentic each time. But this is what my intellect told me, so this is what I did. It's part of being authentic. Authentic doesn't mean emotional.
Yeah, no. I put it wrongly. What I meant was you can't just behave the way you feel like every time.
Yes.
And that's okay. I had this conversation with my, niece in 12th who said that why do I have to change the way I feel and think? Why can't I speak my mind all the time? And, I was just telling her that, if that was true for everybody around you, you would be one unhappy person. So you have to let your intellect govern, or, then you have to be strong to take whatever consequences that come with it.
Yep. 9. Burn like a lighter, not like a matchstick. Very good. Burn like a lighter, not like a matchstick. A good illustration, but eventually even the
Fuel will fuel.
Yes. So, all right. So then where were we? Purity, steadfastness. Another big one. Can you stay consistent with your goal? Or we go off our goal every time something comes up. What is my goal? And am I staying true to it? And am I doing this day after day, every single day, every time? I'm not moved away. Things will happen to me. Remember, the flow of life will sometimes be for me and sometimes will be against me, but my mind hasn't shifted from where it wants to go. Is that saying that only the dead fish swim with the current? Sometimes you're fish swimming with the current, sometimes you're swimming against the current, but your destination has never changed. Sometimes you're going through the water, sometimes you're jumping over the water, but your destination hasn't changed. Have you seen the fish? Sometimes they went and I throw it, and I go, they jump all over it. One way or the other, you are not moving from where you want to go, and you are very clear about that. Not usne ye kiya or usne wo kiya. Anybody doing anything, I am doing this. The trouble with us is day after day, we change where we want to go. We're fuzzy about where we want. A spiritually developed person is It's not spiritual. It's not even about spiritual development. It's sensible person. A sensible person is a spiritual developed person. A spiritually developed person is a sensible person. Any mature person is clear where they're wanting to go and they are going there. Not when it's okay, I will do this. No, I will change everything around because I am going there. That's how I have to look at my life. And I will come against all sorts of problems when I do that. When I'm able, not problems, I come across all sorts of temptations when I want to do that. And I'm able to say no to those temptations because I want my goal. And that is called self-control. Self-control is not something in the air. Oh, I don't do this and I don't do that. I don't drink. I don't smoke. So, मैं क्या करूं? Don't drink if you want. Don't drink if you don't want. Smoke if you want. Smoke. Want to have lung cancer? Go right ahead. What's the problem? Making a list of things that I don't do doesn't count as self-control. When I say no to those things that interfere with my path to my goal, I have so much control over myself that I stick to what I'm doing, even though I'm quite interested in that. That is called self-control. When you practice this, you gain dispassion towards sense objects. What is that we will do next?
Shankiri, so on this point, so withstanding the force of desire for your goal would be self-control, right?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if you put it so technically, your self-control would be withstanding the pressure for desires leading you elsewhere, and also withstanding the pressure that makes you accelerate towards the goal itself. Both will come under self.
Yes. Thank you.